Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Michelle Guida of the Krach Institute for Tech Diplomacy at Purdue.
Good afternoon. At the Krach Institute for Tech Diplomacy at Purdue, we believe that technology must advance freedom. So I'm very pleased to be introducing our next conversation here today between two very transformational leaders who are at the forefront of that mission, Ambassador Alexander Tah-ray Yui and Keith Krach. Ambassador Yui is Taiwan's representative to the United States. He previously served as Taiwan's representative to the European Union and Belgium and as Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs. The ambassador's diplomatic career spans more than 3 decades. He served in several senior positions in the Western Hemisphere, focused on promoting trilateral exchanges between Taiwan, the US, and Latin America, and boosting Taiwan's contacts and connections with English-speaking and Spanish-speaking countries in the Americas. Keith Krach, our chairman at the Krach Institute for Tech Diplomacy at Purdue, and the chairman of the US-Taiwan Business Council, previously served as Undersecretary of State for Economic Growth and was also chairman and CEO of DocuSign and Ariba. As America's top economic diplomat, he was the highest-ranking State Department official to visit Taiwan in 4 decades, enhancing US-Taiwan ties through the Economic Prosperity Partnership and the Science and Technology Cooperation Pact, which paved the way for the US-Taiwan 21st Century Trade Pact. Keith and his team brokered the largest foreign investment in US history, a $60 billion deal to bring Taiwan's TSMC to the United States, and architected the $280 billion bipartisan CHIPS and Science Act, which has driven now $350 billion in US semiconductor investment and job creation. He also led the formation of the Clean Network Alliance, uniting 60 countries, 200 telecommunications firms representing 2/3 of global GDP, including Taiwan, to defeat the CCP's master plan to control 5G communications. So please welcome to the stage Ambassador Yui and Chairman Krach.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining me, Mr. Ambassador. I appreciate it. You know, I just got back 2 weeks ago from Taiwan, bringing 30 CEOs over there in my role as chairman of the US-Taiwan Business Council. I've been going to Taiwan for 4 decades. It's got a special place in my heart, first as a businessman, then as a diplomat. And I've had a chance to see Taiwan's meteoric rise. And, you know, and I look at what Taiwan is all about. In a way, it's tech diplomacy, because technology, trusted tech from Taiwan has made such a big impact on humanity. Share with the audience, if you will, Mr. Ambassador, some of the ways that Taiwan has impacted humanity in terms of technology and health and those kind of things.
Well, thank you, Keith, and very happy to be in Concordia. You know, as we have a parallel, we have the UNGA being starting today, and obviously we've been asking for incorporation into the United Nations, but this is a great event, and happy to be here and very happy to be with you. Taiwan, our contribution to the world, where can I begin? But it's many. First of all, you mentioned we are a robust democracy, and that is very important, because we are the forefront of saving democratic values. We have a neighbor who is huffing and puffing, trying to blow down the wall of defense, democracy, and freedom through many means, by military threats, by economic coercion, by cyber attacks, gray zone tactics, you name it, cognitive warfare, etc. So we are with like-minded countries that value democracy, and that's very important. So any support we get from our friends to make us fortified in democracy is also very important. Second of all, Taiwan is a relevant has economic relevance in the world. Taiwan may be a very small island, 23 million people, but we're the 21st largest economy in the world. We are your 8th largest trading partner. To put it into perspective, your trade with Taiwan is larger than your trade with Italy or France or India or Brazil. So we're small, but at the same time, we excel in technology. We not only make, 60% of the world's semiconductors, 92% of the more superior super chips. But at the same time, those chips that are the components that make it into the servers, the AI servers, the cloud servers, are also mostly made by Taiwan. So going back to United Nations, this year's United Nations theme is leave no one behind, except Taiwan. But also, these past few days, UN conducted Forum for the Future. And let me play this play of words. The future will be dominated by technology, AI, quantum, all of that. AI will be part of life, artificial intelligence. To talk about the future, which is technology, without incorporating Taiwan, is like going downtown New York in Little Italy, getting a cannoli without its filling. For those who maybe don't know what a cannoli is, it's like a donut without the jelly filling. That's the future. So if you're talking about the future without Taiwan, you will be left behind. So, but also Taiwan, our motto for the last few years has been Taiwan can help. And we excel at helping other countries, our allies, our friends, in health, in technology, in small and medium enterprise advancements, and been working with other friends, including the United States, with USAID, with DFC, to try to incorporate what we can do to, again, make this a better world through this collaboration. And lastly, we are helping to decrease the risk of being coerced by mainland China, because we are de-risking from China ourselves. And our investment to mainland China, say 10, 12 years ago, was 84% of our investment went to China. Nowadays, 11%. Our factories are leaving China, going to other places, so that's why this realignment of the supply chain is a great opportunity to also preserve our technology for good use.
Well, Taiwan is certainly a beacon for freedom and democracy, not just in the region, around the world. And as you said, General Secretary Xi, I think, sees this as a big threat because it dispels his myth that the Chinese culture cannot live and thrive within a democracy. So he wants it destroyed. And, President Lee gave an address a little while ago to this audience. And he's a wonderful guy. We had, I introduced him to all the CEOs and all that. And he talked about the 4 pillars for Taiwan. The first being to strengthen their defense against that China threat. The second is in areas of economics and global economic security. And the third is alliances, similar to what we did when we formed the Clean Network Alliance of Democracies that was based upon the trust doctrine. And that fourth one is peace and stability. Can you talk a little bit about those 4 pillars and how you, as the ambassador here to the United States, put those into action and communicate that to the U.S. public?
Well, first of all, let me go back to Mr. Xi. Do you know that we all know that mainland China is spending a lot of money on its military forces? It has a larger navy now, and etc. But do you know that mainland China spends a lot more money on internal control than on military forces? That means who is its biggest enemy? Its own people. And why is he so aggressive on China? And why did he mess up Hong Kong? Because Hong Kong and China and Taiwan we offer them a different way of life that they're used to in China. We have freedom, we have democracy, and that's a big threat to the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party in mainland China. That's why he's spending so much money to control his people. But the 4 pillars that President Lai mentioned just now in this video message, it is, again, we want to coexist peacefully with our neighbors. We're not the aggressors. We're not the ones creating all this trouble. We're not the ones increasing this military presence around the area. We have been forced to react and forced to improve our self-defense mechanisms. And that's why President Lai, in his 4 pillars that he mentioned, he wants to increase military deterrence. We want our friends to help us be able to defend ourselves better. We're not going to depend on people coming to our aid. Well, you can help us better, but we are determined to do it ourselves. We want to do better economic integration with the world. We want to sign trade pacts with anyone, with the United States inclusive. We want to join CPTPP in the Pacific. We want to, as you mentioned, with the international community, the community of democracies, to strengthen our values and way of life and make sure that the rules-based world order is not changed. This is the way we want it, we'll keep it. People talk about whether, it's all about profit, all about the market, but not really. Otherwise, Taiwan will not be under Chinese military threat because we want to preserve our way of life. We've evolved into a thriving democracy, and once you taste democracy, you can't go back because all the freedom and be able to choose what you want to do is quite invigorating. But lastly, we want to preserve peace in the Taiwan Straits, and that's a given. Again, we want to prosper together. Mainland China has its own internal economic problems. I would urge the Chinese leadership to concentrate more on its own domestic issues rather than going outside and creating all these tensions in Taiwan Straits and the South China Seas, etc. We want to live in peace, and that's the whole message of the 4 pillars, and prosper together, right. The message of President Lai.
Right, and President Lai speaks of those democratic values, those trust principles that were in the trust doctrine in terms of respect for rule of law, respect for property of all kinds, respect for human rights, respect for sovereignty of nations. And these are values that we honor in the free world. And these aren't the things that are honored by authoritarian regimes. They actually use them against us strategically. And that was the thing about the trust doctrine. We actually flipped their 5G master plan on their back and used that and actually weaponized these principles to protect our freedom.
True.
And this is something where Taiwan has really, really led, and led in a big way because you are such a great role model. If you think about our rivals are playing a 4-dimensional game of diplomatic, military, economic, and cultural chess, and the crossroads is really technology.
True.
And talk to us a little bit about that in terms of, with the onshoring of TSMC, this was monumental. And it really, I think, got Taiwan's trusted brand well known in the U.S.
True.
And now, one of the things that we formed at the Krach Institute is the Taiwan Center for Innovation and Prosperity to promote cross-investment. So talk about some of the companies in Taiwan that are looking at making other big investments in the U.S.
Trust in technology is very important. Actually, is trust and a benign use of technology for humanity. And that's, I think, where the crossroads, where technology, where is it going? And that's why it's so important for us, the democratically like-minded countries, to make sure that that technology is always, the technology that we hold and we're developing is always a step ahead or many steps ahead of the other side. We use it to enhance or to better human livelihoods. The other side uses to control its people. Why is mainland China using so much money on its internal control? Because they are using all this technology to control its own people. And there are many examples that I can make, use, but time limited. You mentioned about TSMC. Taiwan and United States were natural partners in technology. You are very good at designing semiconductors. We're very good at manufacturing, make it happen. So there's been talk about Taiwan, the silicone shield, that if we put the manufacturing outside of Taiwan, the shield will be thinner and will be in more dangerous place because all the shield will be disappeared. It will go to other places and Taiwan be open to be attacked because we no longer have this shield. But that's not the case. Having factories in Arizona, for example, TSMC is investing $65 billion in Arizona for 3 plants. And 2 days ago, our economic ministry just approved a further $7.5 billion investment from TSMC at Arizona. So it'd be $76 billion.
Keeps growing.
Yes. But that's the confidence that we have in partnering with the United States in doing this partnership. And it's not just semiconductors. Again, it's the AI servers, the cloud servers are made mostly by Taiwanese companies. Many of them are in the United States and others. Taiwan is not just TSMC. When I'm in DC and talk to my friends in Congress and other places, many times they start asking me about TSMC, and they keep asking me TSMC questions. I go, yeah, but remember, I'm not TSMC employee. I represent Taiwan. But that's the scope of people seeing Taiwan as a technology hub, and I think there's a lot of space that we can work on. But one thing that we should do is try to pass more trade agreements. For example, avoidance of double taxation, which is still one step further for passing in the Senate, hopefully before the end of the year. It will be transformed, essentially will encourage more presence from Taiwanese companies in the United States and U.S. companies in Taiwan.
Yep, absolutely. That's a big mission of the center. The other big mission is to enhance Taiwan's international standing.
Exactly.
Get them involved in more international organizations, and more multilaterals, to really spread that word.
Sure.
I remember in 2020 when I was Under Secretary of State, we were looking at what is the investment companies are going to make in semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. There was not one company that was going to build any fabs in the U.S. And we figured if we could get TSMC to come, the rest would come. And then look at what happened. Close to $400 billion of investment in the most important industry and jobs here. And that's thanks to a great partnership with Taiwan. Your government has been so supportive.
Thank you.
Well, I think you've won the hearts and the minds of the free world. And we know that Taiwan is one of the most consequential places on the planet. And we really appreciate your role model, but most of all, your friendship, being a trusted friend.
Thank you. No. Between us, we always repeat that we are a force for good, and we really mean it. And if there's anything that can be done for Taiwan, help us preserve our democracy and freedom, enhance our robustness in this area, and be part of this group that believes in democracy, help us be incorporated into further international entities, be in trade, be in United Nations and others. It is really ironic, we lead in technology, yet we're not members of the International Telecommunications Union. We don't have a say. Hundreds and thousands of flights go through Taiwan every year, yet we're not members of ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization. It doesn't make sense. Health, we did pretty good in COVID, handling COVID, preventing COVID, yet we can be part of the World Health Organization. So it's a matter of sense. It's a matter of being pragmatic, and we should put less politics in terms of being allowed into the international agencies.
Yeah, and we're working a lot to get with, for example, Audrey Tong, your former Minister of Digital Affairs, has headed up the Global Trusted Tech Standard
Yes.
and all kinds of ways. So I think we're out of time, Mr. Ambassador,
Okay.
but I'd like to thank you for everything you do and all the best. And our hearts, our muscle, everything is with you.
Thank you. No, I'm my work in the United States in D.C. and all over the United States is to further the relationship and the partnership that we have between Taiwan and the United States. So we'll keep at it.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.